There's a terrifying possibility you may not want to admit. You don't actually miss them, you miss the way they make you feel. And that difference can change everything, because love can make you feel safe, connected, and understood. But emotional addiction feels different. You think about them constantly. You check your phone hoping it's them. Their attention can make your entire day feel amazing, and their silence can ruin it. And the worst part? You may call it love simply because the feelings are intense, but intensity is not always love. Sometimes it's withdrawal. The first sign is that your mood depends on them. When they text you, suddenly everything feels okay. When they become distant, your chest gets heavy. You start wondering what you did wrong. You replay conversations, you check their activity, you look for tiny clues. Nothing actually happened. But your brain is already preparing for abandonment. So that's when you need to notice something important. You're no longer just experiencing the relationship. You're using the relationship to regulate your emotions. And that leads to the second sign. You don't just want their love. You need their attention. There's a huge difference. If they take longer to reply, you become restless. If they seem less interested, you become desperate to get their attention back. And suddenly you're doing things you normally wouldn't do, sending another message, pretending not to care, posting something hoping they'll see it, checking whether they viewed your story, then checking again. You're not chasing connection anymore, you're chasing reassurance. And reassurance has a dangerous property. It never lasts very long. Which brings us to the third sign. You feel more attracted to them when they pull away. Think about that. When they're loving and available, you feel calm. But when they become distant, suddenly they're all you can think about. Their silence makes them more valuable. Their attention feels like a reward, and your brain starts creating a cycle. Distance, anxiety, obsession, reconnection, relief. Then distance again. That cycle can feel incredibly powerful. So powerful that you mistake the relief for love. But sometimes you're not addicted to the person. You're addicted to the emotional high of finally getting them back. And there's a fourth sign that makes this even more dangerous. You start ignoring things you would normally never tolerate. They disrespect you, they disappear, they give you mixed signals, they make you feel unwanted. And somehow you keep finding reasons to stay. You know, they're just stressed. They've been through a lot. They really do care about me deep down. Maybe they do. But notice what's happening. You're spending more energy explaining their behavior than experiencing their love. You're attached to their potential, not their reality, and that can keep you trapped for months, sometimes years. The fifth sign is even more personal. You've started losing yourself. You used to have your own routines, your own friends, your own interests, your own goals, but now everything somehow revolves around them. You choose places because they might be there. You change your schedule for them. You stop doing things because they might call, and even when they aren't physically around, they're still taking up space in your head. That's not just missing someone, that's psychological occupation. And eventually you reach the sixth sign. You're terrified of losing them, even though being with them is already hurting you. Read that again mentally. You're afraid of losing something that is making you unhappy. Why? Because your brain doesn't only fear losing the person, it fears losing the possibility that one day they'll finally change, that one day they'll love you the way you want, that one day all the waiting, chasing, forgiving, and suffering will finally make sense. And sometimes that hope is what keeps the addiction alive. Then comes the seventh sign. You don't ask, is this relationship good for me? You ask, how do I make them choose me? That question changes everything, because love isn't supposed to feel like an audition. You shouldn't have to constantly prove your worth to keep someone interested. You shouldn't have to become smaller, quieter, easier, or more available just to prevent someone from leaving. Healthy love says, I want you. Emotional addiction says, please don't leave me. And those two feelings can look almost identical from the outside, but inside, they feel completely different. Love allows you to remain yourself. Addiction makes you abandon yourself just to keep someone else. So if you recognized yourself in these signs, don't immediately ask, how do I stop loving them? Ask something deeper. What am I actually afraid of losing? Their presence, their attention, the fantasy of who they could become, or the feeling that if they finally choose you, it will prove that you were worthy all along? Because sometimes the hardest person to let go of isn't the person standing in front of you. It's the version of them you created in your mind. And maybe the most painful truth is this: you don't have to convince someone to love you to prove that you're lovable. The right connection won't require you to lose yourself just to keep it. So before you call your obsession love, ask yourself one question. Do I feel more like myself because of this person, or less like myself without them? Your answer might tell you everything. And if you've ever experienced this kind of attachment, share your story in the comments. Someone reading it might realize they're not alone. And if you want more psychology that helps you understand your relationships and yourself, subscribe.